Hey, good evening, everybody. We're doing a live webcast, bringing everything up right now, and here's the charts. Got a little bit of weather action this evening, and you can see that here on the radar from Shreveport. Haven't seen much in the way of any severe weather, so that's why I've been kind of pushing back the start of the webcast throughout the day. What we have right now, just kind of the cold front moving southeastward from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, from southeast Oklahoma to about the Shreveport area. And you can see that a lot of these cells here are very outflowish. You can see one outflow boundary right there. The spectrum width may show that a little bit. Not so evident today. Looks like that shows up a little bit better with the reflectivity there. We've got this tail end storm northeast of Crockett. So this one does have a little bit of potential to become severe as that moves into the, I don't know that area too well. Let me see if I can bring that up. Nacogdoches, Lufkin. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that right there. Okay, give me just a second here. Okay, let me go ahead and run through the charts, and this will give you an idea of the way things are configured for today. Well, we can start out with the surface chart, and we see high pressure out over the Texas Panhandle. So we got northwesterly flow east of that high. And there's that cold front from about Little Rock to Shreveport and down to the San Antonio area. Pretty good push of cold air for this time of year. The low temperatures for this morning, lots of 20s and 30s in the northeast, in the northern states here. We can see the low was 64 at Chicago. That was it's very warm for this time of year. So this gives us a rough idea of where the air mass is located. Looking at something like that. And then we'll take a look at the 250 millibar chart here. Okay, so we've got a pretty good trough in place across the Great Plains here. Polar front jet running from Nevada down to El Paso, then up from Tulsa to Minneapolis. So it's kind of a meridional, sorry, a bit of a tongue twister here. I've kind of a meridional pattern here in place, not so zonal. So there's a lot of temperature advection taking place in the upper levels today. 500 millibar chart looking like this. There's that trough right there through the West Texas area up to the Dakotas. And let's check out that wind flow across Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana. 500 millibar flow showing 50 to 60 knots. It's definitely a pretty good jet we have in place there. 700 millibar flow looking a little bit weaker, about 30 knots there. And you can see a little bit of that capping in place. 11 Celsius at Shreveport and 12 at Lake Charles. So this is helping to keep things pretty well capped. Much of the development we have today is forced along that cold front. And we don't have a whole lot of development out ahead of that line. So that's kind of a blessing. That means we don't have a bunch of supercells out ahead of the cold front. Things could be a lot worse as far as things go today. I need to grab some water here. I'm not very well hydrated this afternoon. Okay, so we have a couple of cells out ahead of the front, and there they are out around the Shreveport area. And these cells are really what we're most concerned about this afternoon, right here. There's one cell right in this area here. I just don't know the cities very well. Let me bring up the city overlay. Arcadia, okay. And these are going to be fairly high-based storms. These are going to be elevated. They're rooted above the boundary layer. If we look at tops on this cell, we're pushing about 30,000 for this cell here. But kind of a small, disorganized storm at this time. And again, these are some of the ones we're watching right here and also further down the line towards Nacogdoches and Lufkin. Okay, so the strongest storm we have in place coming up on Lufkin, and this is mostly going to be from wind and probably marble-sized hail. I guess the Weather Service, they're going for $half sized. But those are the main threats. I don't really see any tornado risk with that because got a pretty good wedge of cold air moving southeast and undercutting a lot of these cells. Okay, I never thought to take a look and see who's watching. Let's see here. Well, we got 15 viewers. Let's see here who we got. Greg Schultz checking in, and David Holcomb. Ryan Toomies out in Florida. We got Ahmed in Saudi Arabia. And Victor Cabot is here. Looks like you got the day off, Victor. Alexia is here, and Megan John, Fred Reamer, Brett Dean, and Michael Burrell. We have Mick here, and Sue M up in Indiana. And Sue, you're mentioning no YouTube notification. So you'll have to let me know how you've got that set up because I'm not too familiar with the way YouTube does notifications. If we can figure out what is causing that problem, I can get in there and take a look and see what might be going on. Storm Zombie is here, and Ryan is watching the storms on his high-resolution screen. Spotty medium cells in linear format. Ancient Astronaut is here from Texas, Central Texas there. All right, so we got a little bit of a crowd this afternoon. And I think the way this is going to work is we'll just kind of run through a quick overview of what's happening. And then I'll probably take a break and take the feed down for a little bit and just kind of keep an eye on things, and if things pick up, then we'll bring things back online. And I do intend to do the evening weathercast also. Okay, so let's see, moving down the line. Looks like these cells here are also becoming a little bit linear. We'll check out some of the higher tilts there around from the Shreveport radar. Storms are pretty much linear all the way up to 20 and 30,000 feet there. A little bit of discreteness in these cells right there. And that kind of identifies some of the stronger storms, like right here. That's going to correspond to the tail end on that particular line right there. So as you go up to the higher tilts, you can kind of cut away some of the clutter in the lower tilts. And that'll help you figure out which storms to focus your attention on. And we'll check for circulations aloft. So we're up at about 10,000 feet here. So we're seeing some pretty strong outbound right here. I'm sorry, 50 knots outbound, okay. So I stand corrected, a little bit weak here. And just not really any good circulations on this line right here. Okay, so I'm just kind of working my way down the line, looking for any features of interest. And I am up at the higher tilts, and let me drop down a little bit and check out the low levels on these storms. And just not seeing much of anything going on here. Okay, so back to the reflectivity there. So it looks like a few of our stronger storms are actually down in Texas, and that's a little bit unexpected. So I would imagine some of this activity is going to push eastward into the area just south of I-20. So as the evening wears on, we will probably have some of this area here under the gun later. Okay. Let's take a look at the 850 millibar chart real quick. And I'll go ahead and just use the NAM 850. And this gives us an idea of our flow at about 5,000 feet. This is kind of like the upper parts of the moisture supply. So we've got winds out of about 200 at about 20 right now. Whoa. And one thing that we can do is we can kind of put that together and look at the photographs. So let me switch over to the high resolution rapid refresh here. I'm going to refresh this real quick and bring up the current run. Okay, so here's the 20Z high resolution rapid refresh. And let's take a look at things out in this clear air just east of Shreveport. We'll bring up the photographs and the sounding here. Okay. Storm vectors are pretty fast relative to the ground. We're seeing storm motion out of the southwest at 45 knots. And we do have a little bit of helicity in place right here. You can see that area we have swept out right there. But the big problem appears to be I suspect our moisture is a bit of a problem also. The capping, you can see the capping right here at 700 millibars. God, what's wrong? I'm trying to enunciate here, and I'm having a lot of trouble here. Sorry about that. Sometimes my mouth just does not want to cooperate here. So anyway, we do have a little bit of instability, but that's in the upper parts of the troposphere right there, in the upper levels. So you can see that once we get above 11 to 12,000 feet, that's where we really hit the better instability. And I prefer to see that instability layer a lot closer to the surface, because that also gives you a deeper layer, and when you integrate all those temperature differences with height, that'll give you higher CAPE numbers. Okay. So anyway, it appears that cap right there is keeping a lot of this stuff shut down. Okay, let's see what else is going on. We'll check out the satellite. Okay, there's our animation over the past couple of hours. And you can see the frontal boundary looks like it's right through that area here, and extended on up towards the Fort Smith area. And pretty good cold air advection coming in through here, through Abilene, Mineral Wells, Fort Worth. Okay, let me take a look at the GO16 data. That's always fun to look at. This is the tail end here. A lot of times if you're chasing a situation like this where things are very linear, you're going to want to head down towards the tail end. And we call this tail end Charlie. So that would be the play there if we were chasing, but your big problems are the very fast storm movement and the very limited visibility. This is the Texas piney woods, and it is very challenging having to chase in that area and see over the pine thickets. Okay, so I'll refresh this and see what the line looks like. You can see some of the overshooting tops right here. And then further down the line, we've got the tail end right there around the Lufkin and Nacogdoches area. And there's a look at our storm environment right there over Louisiana. You can see a lot of the richer moisture way out here. And I believe with that slightly veered flow that we have over Texas, that's cutting down a little bit of the moisture. So let me take a look at that real quick on the high resolution rapid refresh. I'm going to set this around the Lufkin area right here. And this shows that we do have a little bit less capping as you go further to the west. So you see there at 700 millibars, not quite as capped there. and a little bit better moisture in that area. But not as the helicity there is more of a problem, though. You can see the flow is more veered here. So storm motion vectors paired up with the 0 through 0.5 kilometer flow. It's painting out a very small helicity area there. Okay, let's see. I'm not too sure what else I want to cover because there's really not much going on here. So I think probably what I'll go ahead and do is just kind of take a break here and keep an eye on it this afternoon. And there's our camera right there. But yeah, we'll check things out a little bit later. And if we have any warnings start coming out, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the feed, like tornado warnings. And if not, we'll just go ahead and do the 8 p.m. webcast at the usual time. And that should do it. Anyway, thanks for joining, and we will see you later. Take care.